In 2023, the CDC reported over 15 million U.S. adults had ADHD. Half were diagnosed as adults, and a third take medication. So when you forget half your groceries, leave clothes drying for days, burn food while cooking, or shut down by 8 p.m., that isn't you being lazy. Your partner steps in, again, not because you don't care, but because ADHD keeps making it harder to show it. Still, from the outside, it doesn't always look that way. And that's when a different label starts getting thrown around, something called weaponized incompetence. I'm Jourdan Travers. I'm a psychotherapist, and today we're breaking down the science and the myth behind that label and why it doesn't apply to you. In 2022, a group of 43 young adults from across the US and the UK, even from Suriname, got on Zoom for a conversation. They didn't know each other, but they all shared one thing, a diagnosis of ADHD. Some had been diagnosed at 5, others at 29. Most were women, and many were still trying to figure out what this diagnosis actually meant for their daily lives. This wasn't just a support group. It was a research study run by Yale University. The goal was this, to understand what it feels like to live with ADHD in a world that doesn't understand it. And so they talked over 9 focus groups, and the same themes kept emerging. One participant said, I kind of get stuck in my own head, so I kind of forget to contact people. Another confessed, a lot of the things they held against me have to do with my ADHD symptoms, things like always forgetting everything and that I didn't care. A few talked about masking, putting on a version of themselves that looks more put together just to avoid being judged. But behind the mask, they felt exhausted, insecure, and overwhelmed. Many said people in their lives thought they were careless or lazy, or worst of all, acting helpless on purpose. The technical term for that is weaponized incompetence. But that's not what was happening. These weren't people trying to dodge responsibility. They were people dealing with executive dysfunction, emotional dysregulation, and burnout from constantly trying to appear normal. The study didn't just expose the symptoms of ADHD, it revealed the cost of constantly being misunderstood. If you've ever felt like the hardest part of ADHD isn't the symptoms, but the way people treat you because of them, you're not imagining that. It's not the forgetting or the fidgeting that hurts. It's being told that you're lazy, you're dramatic, or just not trying hard enough. It's the invalidation that sticks. But here's what I want you to remember. This isn't who you are. These are symptoms, patterns shaped by your neurobiology, not your intent. And even if on the outside, your behavior looks similar to someone weaponizing incompetence, what's happening underneath couldn't be more different. Weaponized incompetence is intentional. It's when someone deliberately fumbles a task to avoid doing it again. It's passive manipulation. It's when someone knows how to do something, but pretends that they don't. Like claiming they don't know how to do laundry, so they won't be asked again. Or intentionally doing a task poorly, like putting dishes in the dishwasher upside down, that their partner gets frustrated and just takes over. It's subtle, and it often hides behind phrases like, I'm just not good at this, or you're better at this than me, or, well, I didn't know it had to be done this way. But here's the difference. Weaponized incompetence is about avoidance through pretending. It's intentional helplessness used to shift responsibility. But what you're dealing with isn't manipulation. It's executive dysfunction, the brain's difficulty with organizing, remembering, and following through. You're not choosing to forget, and you're not trying to be careless. You're trying desperately and burning out in the process. That difference is what matters. So let's show you what executive dysfunction actually looks like. In 2015, a team of neurologists and neuropsychologists published a clinical paper after studying hundreds of patients dealing with cognitive challenges. Not memory loss and not low intelligence, but a silent breakdown in the part of the brain responsible for getting things done, the executive system. The symptoms were easy to miss, but devastating in real life. missed appointments, laundry washed 3 times but never folded, forgetting why you entered a room, reading the same email 5 times, still unsure of what it said. These were people who didn't care. They were often professionals, caregivers, even former academics. One 70-year-old man, a retired college professor, had begun forgetting the last page he just read, walking into rooms and losing his purpose, struggling to concentrate on even the most basic tasks. And what shocked the doctors wasn't how he described his brain fog, but how often others dismissed it as grief, age, or worse, laziness. But deeper testing told a different story. When they ran a working memory test, something as simple as repeating numbers backwards, he couldn't do it. His executive system, the brain's internal manager, had collapsed under stress, depression, and burnout. And that's the thing most people don't see. Executive dysfunction isn't about forgetting everything. It's about remembering some things too late. It's not about being irresponsible. It's about your brain losing the capacity to prioritize, sequence, and complete tasks. The researchers broke it down into 4 core components: working memory, the mental scratch pad that lets you juggle tasks, ideas, and reminders in real time; inhibition, the ability to block distractions, ignore irrelevant thoughts, or stop automatic responses; set shifting, the mental gear switching required to adapt when plans change or tasks interrupt each other; and fluency, the ability to retrieve, generate, and organize thoughts or actions quickly without freezing up. Even when one of these symptoms is compromised, daily life becomes a series of micro-failures that others misinterpret as carelessness. But this isn't character, it's chemistry, circuitry, and sometimes trauma. In scans, these patients showed reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, the same region responsible for goal setting and attention. But what's more revealing, executive dysfunction often co-occurs with depression, ADHD, traumatic brain injury, even long COVID. So in other words, it's not rare, it's just misunderstood. So the next time someone says, you just need to try harder, remember, executive dysfunction isn't about trying less. It's about a brain that's trying so hard to keep up, it crashes. And you don't fix that with shame. You fix that with support, structure, and science. And if this feels familiar, you don't have to navigate it alone. You can book a session with me if you want guided tools and therapy that meet you where you are. Or just let me know in the comments if you'd like the next video to focus on strategies that actually work for you. I'm Jourdan Travers. I'm the clinical director of Awake Therapy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.